Okay. Big announcement down here. Most of you probably already know about it. Universal Studios has announced they're going to build a new theme park. Don't know much about it other than I read the name of it's going to be Universal Epic, I think. And they're going to have 12,000 new jobs. And the jobs are going to average $15 an hour. I think that's great. You know, that's one thing in this country we're always asking anyway. New jobs, better paying jobs, and things like that. Well, here's my take on that. It doesn't do any good to bring in new high paying jobs in this country if we as Americans don't support it. And the truth is we don't. It seems like we always go after whatever's the cheapest. We just do it. I don't know. I know I'm kind of broad brushing everything here, but that's why a lot of them left. I mean, because we just didn't support it. We was going to Walmart and buying made in China stuff, and I remember back in the day, made in Japan stuff was the cheap stuff. Today, that's not necessarily true about Japan stuff, but China stuff is still crap. It's always been crap. And except maybe the cell phones and things like that, and I'm not 100% sure about that either. But I don't buy hardly anything from China, not nothing major. I just don't. Now I do know that things as it gets harder and harder. I understand that. But my point to all this is, what good's it going to do to have, say, General Motors come into the United States and build the world's largest factory to build this super great car that is got everybody beat on price, and then we don't buy it. You know, we buy the Mitsubishis, or we buy the Hyundais, or whatever. It doesn't make any difference, does it? So we got to start supporting our people. I mean, I do, as much as I can. And I know things are tough. You can't hardly buy any kind of a camera made in the United States. And I got one. I mean, you can't. You know, and there's a lot of things where you just shake your head. You know, you ask and you find out, well, you can't, and you just shake your head. You know, I don't understand this. This is not where I grew up. So anyway, just do the best you can do. That's all I'm saying. Support as much as you possibly can. For those of you coming down, new announcement also is the Village's Health is now going to begin accepting the Florida Blue Advantage Plan. They'll take Blue Cross and Blue Shield or Florida Blue and some other stuff like that until you hit the age of 65 and get on Medicare. And then whatever your supplemental plan is, when I was here, and I wanted to stay in the Florida or the Village's health system because I like it. That's just me. That's my choice. And I had to have United Healthcare Advantage Plan, and I think they took AARP Advantage Plan, and seems to me there was another one. I can't remember all that. But now they've announced, they've added to that, they'll take Florida Blue Advantage. Now those of you that don't know what Florida Blue is, that's Blue Cross and Blue Shield. But they call it Florida Blue down here. So that's nice to know that they're adding to the insurance for those of us that want to stay in the Village's health system. But let me tell you one of my complaints about the Village health system. Here, I had a doctor that was in the Village health system. I liked the doctor. I was in the Pinellas Plaza clinic area, doctor's offices, and then he moved to the Brownwood offices when they got them opened. So I had to start going down there. And then I got an announcement like a year and a half later he was going to retire, and I had to pick another primary care doctor, which that's fine. So I asked the lady there, I says, how do I do that? And she said, well, go to this website for the Village's healthcare system. And she said, you just go on there and just pick out the one you want. And I said, well, I want an internal medicine doctor, so that's going to eliminate a lot. But when I got on there, there was like 3 or maybe 4. internal medicine doctors. I picked the one that was at Brownwood. And now here's the thing that got me. And I don't know how this happened, because if I could find out all this information and exactly how this happened, I think I'd have contacted an attorney. I really do. And I'm not a suing kind of guy, but this is wrong, and I would have took it to task. But when I picked a doctor, the next day a lady called me from the medical health system and told me I couldn't have that doctor. I said, why not? Now, at the time I'm talking to her on the phone, I had my laptop right in front of me, and I had his webpage right there. And it said he was accepting new patients 65 and older. And she said, well, I know. She said, but we're holding 400 spots open for new people that's buying homes in the Finney area, back when the Finney was new. So my question was, I'm already in the system, and you're holding 400 spots open for people that's not in the system? And she said, yeah, I know. She said, but that's what's on the computer. I said, wait a minute. I said, who's giving you this order that's getting in between me and my choice of doctor? And she said, I don't know. She said, that's just what it says on her. She said, I'm not in charge of all that. I said, well, tell me who is in charge of all that. She put me on hold, and she left, and she said that somebody would be calling me within the next day or two. I never got that call, and I still haven't got that answer. Does that sound right to you? It ain't right. So just be warned that in the Village's health system, there's some kinky stuff that goes on. Have I left the system? No, not yet. And I'm probably not going to for a while. Now, here's what I do know that's good about the health system. If you're fairly healthy, basically healthy, the Advantage plans are good. I haven't paid a dime for nothing, ever. If you have a lot of health issues, like my wife, where you have to have infusions, you have to have certain kinds of treatments all the time, things like that, you might want to look outside the Villages. This is weird. And you can use Villages medical stuff. The stress test, the heart test, the MRIs, all these things that's offered inside the Villages, and have an outside doctor that'll set the appointment up to come in and use them. My wife does it all the time. So just know that also. So just be prepared that if you get in the Villages health system, you might have something happen once in a while that just doesn't seem right. It's happened to me once, and nobody's ever called me back about it either. Well, let me see if I've missed anything. Oh, my Patreon page, I see it on here. No. Somebody says, would I open more spots on my level 4? And the answer is no, I'm probably not going to do that. I've got enough on there. The people that's on my level 4 has been there since day one. It's been full, I think, since almost day one. And those are my really staunch supporters. They're always there. And whenever I have any kind of product that I'm selling to pick up a few extra bucks for travels and things, they always support me by buying that stuff. And I don't really want to open it up where I end up getting a handful of people that they want to come in for a month and then they leave. Then I got an open spot that I got to fill all the time. Right now, I just soon keep it the way it is. That's not to take away from my level 3, 2, or 1s. They're all important to me. They're all there. They're there every month. And, I really depend on them for a lot of stuff. So I think I'm just going to leave it the way it is for right now. Maybe later on, if I have to get some help, that I might do it. But I don't want this to turn into a full-time job. I am not Walter Cronkite. I don't get that $1 million paycheck every year to do this. This is a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it's to you on YouTube, it's absolutely free. My Patreon people also watch YouTube, but there's some things on Patreon that you don't see here, and you're not going to see here. I send special messages out to certain people using my Patreon account this way that nobody sees but that person. And so there's special things that people get, and I don't really want to change that in any way. What? I'm reading, it says 4 suspects arrested in ambush armed robbery at restaurant at Brownwood. Let's see what that's all about. 4 suspects have been arrested in an ambush armed robbery at a restaurant in Brownwood in the Villages. 3 men wearing masks, hoodies, dark clothes, and gloves at about 1 a.m. Saturday entered Gators Dockside through the rear door and ambushed an employee and a manager who were in an office. The suspects stole bank bags full of money, a cash drawer, and an Apple iPhone and fled. One of the suspects wearing a bulletproof vest that said Sheriff on the front and back. Another carried a black firearm. Lake County Sheriff's deputies and Fruitland Park Police about a half an hour later began tracking the stolen iPhone. The trail led to an apartment in the Urick Street area of Fruitland Park. A subsequent search of an apartment turned up a bulletproof vest matching the description of the one used in the Gators Dockside robbery. A woman at the apartment, 27-year-old Chelsea Holland, claimed she knew about the robbery. Afterwards, she fingered a 15-year-old juvenile as one who had been wearing the bulletproof vest. She also said 19-year-old Damian Hurst of Ocala had been armed with a firearm. Holland was said to have known about the robbery beforehand and conspired to commit the crime and receive a cut of the money stolen during the robbery. A detective from the Wildwood Police Department wrote in an arrest report. This long thing. Holland Hurst, a juvenile, and 29-year-old Bradley McGarry were all taken into custody and faced charges including aggravated assault with a firearm and armed robbery. Holland, who has a tattoo emblazoned with the name Bradley, was jailed on a $70,000 bond. McGarry, who denied any involvement, was jailed on $200,000 bond. Hurst's bond was also set at $200,000. See, this just goes with what I've always said. We're a retirement community, but the squares and all the main streets and stuff is open to the public. So just because you come to the Villages, which is, like a mega retirement community, these things still happen. This is not an area that you can just leave all your worries outside somewhere, because that's the outside world. The outside world gets in here. And it's all public streets. The squares are all public. The restaurants are public. The country clubs are open to the public. There's a lot of things here open to the public. They can come in. And not only does the outside grandkids come in, the outside visitors come in, maybe your mom and dad comes in to visit you, or your elderly children come in and visit you because they like the community, they like to look around, they have a good time here. The outside scrupulous, no good, rotten people that have nothing on their mind except seeing what they can get from you also come in. So don't leave nothing in your golf cart. You may be okay. I leave stuff in my golf cart once in a while myself, but on an average, don't leave anything important in the golf cart. Like the keys. You might go in and have lunch, come out, and the golf cart's gone. It happens. So with that being said, I think that's the news. That's enough news. Don't forget, Universal Studios, Epic, sounds good. And some other good news, Florida Blue being accepted in the Villages health system. Other than that, same old, same old. See you guys on the other side.